Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Bears fans all around the world. We are live for another episode of the Believe in Monsters podcast, a big part of the Believe Network. We appreciate the Believe Network putting us on each and every week. Our friends Lucas Berry, Chris Krogan, and myself, Joe Gaither, we're here to continue our Chicago Bears offseason talk. We've got a little rookie mini camp to get into tonight, and then we'll go talk about our schedule release coming up. A bunch of our new guys coming in over the week and getting some coaching over the weekend. So we'll talk about how the rookies assimilated at their first time at House Hall. But before we get into that, let's find out how our friends are doing. Lucas Berry, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
I am doing well. Happy to be here with you guys tonight. It seems like after so much news coming in all at once, we are back to almost a dead part of the season, kind of. I mean, it's rookie mini camps, it's a schedule release, but nothing too major going on newsworthy for now. So we'll dive into it. Chris, how you doing, my friend?
It's been a day, boys, but we're here. We get to talk some football. When's veteran mini camp? Joe, you're usually all over with the off-season schedule. Isn't veteran mini camp usually like a couple of weeks after, and the dead part of the year doesn't really start until like June? And then end of July is like when training camp and preseason starts to roll.
I'll look it up right now. Joe, tell us how you're doing.
I'm doing good. I'm looking up I was looking up veteran minicamp when it was. I'm doing good. Yeah, we are in that time of the season where the NFL news never stops, but it is kind of a slower time. I'm ready to take a new job here pretty soon, and look, you guys can let me know like what's been, because I've been Twitter's been kind of crazy over the last handful of weeks and months or whatever. How are the Bears fans feeling about this draft class? I know how us three are feeling, but you guys talk with a lot more Bears fans than I do. How are they feeling about this draft class? And then with the rookie mini camp, I guess ahead of ourselves, we need to ask Chris Krogman how he's doing. But I'm kind of wondering, what is the expectation now that the draft has been settled? So Chris, tell us how you're doing and what are your expectations for 2023?
He told us he had a hell of a day, man. But he's here.
Joe's internet had a hard day too, but that's okay. What my expectations of this draft class? So I expect Darnell Wright to start at right tackle. He's probably going to struggle at times, but be an upgrade over anything we had last year. I think Dexter and Stevenson, the second rounders, are going to be. Well, Stevenson's going to be an upgrade over Vildor. I think he'll start on the outside and be solid to good. And then Pickens, their third rounder, rotate with Dexter, rotate back and forth between 3 tech, 1 tech, and then Justin Jones in the mix as well. So I think that, the first 3 rounds is what we, mostly talked about all offseason is going to be solid. And then it's going to be interesting to see where Tyler Scott and Roschon Johnson find themselves throughout the season, mid-season, and kind of beyond. But I think it was a good class overall. The biggest question is going to be, Jalen Carter. But again, for everybody that is talking shit about the Bears not taking him, we will never, ever know how his career would have panned out in Chicago. More news came out this week where Seattle said they got scared off of him just because he was too hard to read. He didn't have any emotions throughout the entire draft process, kind of meaning he didn't sound very remorseful for the accident that happened. If any of that's true, or if you're not sure, you can't take him, especially if you're Chicago. Philadelphia, Bulldog North can take him, obviously, because they can, babysit him until he grows up or is a backup for the rest of his career. but we'll see. I mean, whatever. Hopefully he gets his life together or is what everybody wants him to be. Yeah. Lucas, what are your expectations overall?
Well, I think you did a phenomenal recap there of the draft and kind of what occurred. And Joe, to answer your question about, I guess, the general consensus of Bears fans, I think a majority of Bears Twitter has this draft has kind of been like a nice Xanax for them. Like they're nice and chill now. They're not complaining. You know, the offensive line guys are, you know, happy as a pig in slop about Darnell Wright starting. You know, there's no issues there. I'm not hearing about the candle and protect Justin Fields all the time, although we could use a little more depth, but not the end of the world. I think mostly everyone is pretty satisfied. I think the biggest questions I'm seeing are kind of revolving around Pickens and Dexter, and I guess the general consensus is that the Bears took two players in the second round who are athletically ahead of their actual production on the field, and that they're kind of betting on traits. But I mean, in the second round, there's not really guys who outproduce their athletic production at that point either, and that's the time to take those risks. So it's all calculated, and I think everyone's kind of cool with how everything transpired. And now the biggest thing people are bringing up, but they're actually okay with it. You know, I even see some people who are generally more negative agreeing that polls admitted it, that you can't fix every hole in the offseason is edge rusher. And there's still a few guys out there the Bears could possibly sign, including Yannick, Clowney, you know, our old friend Leonard Floyd, Frank Clark, if the Bears want to go that route, but I doubt it. So we'll see. But I would say people are generally pretty happy, Joe.
Well, I'm pretty happy as well, and I just, you know, so sometimes I stay unplugged from the fan chatter because sometimes it becomes too unbearable, as you guys experience a lot of the time. As we were kind of getting into rookie minicamp, you get all kinds of positive reports from, you know, scouts, from everything I'm reading is, this player did great. Tyreek Stevenson did great. Stevenson versus Tyrell Scott was a battle to watch, and Pickens was, you know, absorbing the coaching he was receiving. Dexter as well. Dexter spending time at the one tech and 3 tech bouncing back. So like, you get great reports out of this weekend. So I don't really know, like, is it valid? How true? How much you can really take from all the sunshine and
there's
roses?
Not too much. There's really not too much.
Well, let me throw this at you guys with the draft behind us, and now kind of our consensus in agreement with the Bears. What do we think about the division? What do we think about our chances to take that step forward? I mean, I know last year your number 1 pick overall, 3 wins, and I guess if you guys remember listening to this show, I was sitting here saying, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins, 10 wins as a optimistic fan. So, like, you look at around the division, the Packers shipped off our mortal enemy. The Vikings drafted Jordan Addison, and they're kind of still no idea what they're going to do with Dalvin Cook. The Lions had an interesting draft, but the Lions still are dangerous. Krogman, how do you feel about the Bears and the rest of this division?
Well, I think the Bears are improved, offense more than defense, and that they're in the mix for second, probably, maybe third, depending on the Vikings and Packers. I mean, they could still finish dead last. I mean, it's really anyone's game. All possibilities need to be considered, Joseph. We're not going to be a rose-colored glasses podcast over here. Lucas is too handsome for that.
Well, look at the losses from last year. Like, you've got a 1-possession game to the Giants, a playoff team, 1-possession game to the Vikings, 1-possession game to the Commanders, blowout, 1-possession game to the Dolphins, 1-possession game to the Lions, same with the Falcons. So, like, you've got just the 3 wins. My point is a bounce here, 1-possession game with the Philadelphia Eagles, a bounce here, a bounce there. I know the season was awful, and the results were awful. I mean, thank God we got the number 1 pick, but Can we not get a couple of these bounces and have the improvement and see those 3 wins take us into the wild card conversation, Lucas?
To answer your question about the division as a whole, I think I've said this before. I think it's the Lions division to lose. But then again, I also don't trust the Lions to win the division because they are still the Lions. I just think the gap. I mean, Chris, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think I could see the Bears finishing anywhere from second to fourth, but there's the cluster of the Vikings, the Packers, and the Bears are all very close together. I mean, I know Minnesota was one of the better teams in the NFC last year, but
frauds
on paper, yeah.
tiger.
I mean, Joe, you talk about the one possession games. That was Minnesota last year, except they won all their one possession games and kicked long field goals. And yes, they have a great, they have Justin Jefferson, who's the best wide receiver in football, arguably. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, they kind of blew it up a little bit. There's almost 3 semi rebuilding teams in this division right now, so I think it's wide open. I could see any range of outcomes, but yes, the Bears should definitely be fighting for a wild card. And the Bears are still going to have a lot of young players playing. There's no doubt about that, and the defensive line is going to be an issue. But we're hoping that with both of these second round picks, we can at least somewhat filter teams into doing, like last year the Bears were just so bad versus the run, and now you add 2 defensive linemen who aren't the best pass rushers right now, but you're just hoping they can help stop the run. You add some linebackers, so really I think if the Bears aren't competing for that wild card, we might have some bigger issues questioning who this Justin Fields guy is, because I think he is good enough, and I do think there is enough around him to kind of we have to see him kind of take that next step this year. And if he does, the Bears should be in that 5 to 7 win range at least.
You set up this next piece talking about Justin Fields. Our man Dan Orlovsky of ESPN recently came out saying that Justin Fields is going to be in the MVP conversation. He said he may not win it, but he's going to be in the MVP conversation. All right, with that as a backdrop, and Justin Fields going back to Columbus, Ohio this weekend, receiving his degree. You look at the offense. You look at who you bring. You bring in Tyler Scott. You bring in a lot of things to help Justin Fields. How it feel? It's now or never. You think back to last year in my neck of the woods. It was, oh my gosh, it's Jalen Hurts now or never a year. For us, now it's Justin Fields and now or never a year. I think.
100%, absolutely, it is now or never. Justin Fields supporters, if he doesn't come through, will tell you that they didn't do enough, or that Claypool was a bad addition or blah, blah, blah. But, Poles has now answered every question that Bears fans have asked for, right? Get him more weapons. He went out and got more weapons. Whether or not you think Claypool is fantastic or not, DJ Moore is legit. He's at least a top 15 receiver in this league. He went out, signed Robert Tonyan. Whether or not you think he's, phenomenal, he's still solid. The guy's got amazing hands. And then he drafted Tyler Scott. We'll see how he turns out. He could take the top off. He could open it up. We'll see.
At the very least, he's Mooney insurance, right? If one of his receiver gets hurt, you're hoping Scott is, Scott can step in instead of, one receiver going down, and we're back to where we were last year. So,
and as much as people want to complain about the capital of Velus Jones, he started to come on last year, and if he contributes to the offense, I don't really care where we drafted him. Would I go back and make it a 5th rounder? Sure, but I'm not. I don't have a DeLorean that travels through time, and I can't tell the future of what Velus Jones is going to be, but I still think that he had a solid end to his season last year. So, yeah, I think it is definitely time to see where Fields is at. Hopefully he makes a very large jump this year. Joe, just like you mentioned, similar to Jalen Hurts last year and similar to Josh Allen when the Bills added Stephon Diggs. Not saying that, all things are equal, but that's the kind of production jump we're looking for with Justin.
And Chris, to your point about Velus Jones and what Ryan Poles did, if you look at the way, I mean, honestly, here we are 2 years later, and this kind of slow methodological approach is methodical. Yeah,
That's the word
what
you
I
were
was
looking
looking
for.
for. I
Yep.
think I combined mythological and methodical. Mythological.
Yep, that was hard.
Anyway, I mean, he put multiple field stretchers around Fields, which is Fields' greatest strength, throwing the deep ball. So if that's what Velas gives you, and that's what Tyler Scott gives you, and that's what Mooney gives you, I mean, they really did a good job, I think, putting weapons around Fields to accentuate strengths. I think this offense will be more fun to watch. They gave him 2 new linemen this year. And honestly, I as a whole, I like the approach of really not spending too much money or assets on specific guys. He still has multiple first next year. So really, I mean, if this Fields thing doesn't work out, which I don't think any of us think, I mean, the Bears are in a good spot next year to do what they need to do in the first round if they have to go QB or whatever. So, but I am so confident in Justin Fields being good this year. I really do think he's poised for that leap, and polls put the Bears in a good position one way or the other.
Okay, so if he is in that MVP conversation, and he does have that make year, as we're all hoping, does that change the conversation, the question that we just had about Bears, the Bears' competitiveness?
Yeah, if he's that good, I mean, the Bears should definitely win probably anywhere from 7 to 9 games if he's that good. I mean, I'm kind of, like I said,
the defense is still absolutely terrible.
Is it?
But an MVP level quarterback can elevate you. Now that's a huge ask. I mean, he can take a leap and still not be an MVP.
He can't get sacks on the other quarterback unless we're playing two-way football now.
No, but I would contend that you've really beefed up the pass defense. Maybe it's my rose-colored glasses, but I think Tremaine Edmonds becomes a nice coverage linebacker. I like Brisker and Gordon in their second year. Stevenson, you don't know what you're going to get yet with him, but you drafted 2 corners. You beefed up the pass defense. You've kicked our guy 22 down the depth chart.
Yeah, but if you're not getting listen. We talked about this, maybe 2 seasons ago, where sacks are often a coverage game as opposed to an edge rusher making that big of a difference. But these guys can't cover forever. These guys can't cover forever, is my point.
Right.
And somebody's going to have to bring the pressure. There's nobody on the Bears' current team that had more than 5 sacks, and that was Brisker. That's not good.
We're putting a lot of pressure on young guys too. I mean, we're putting a lot of pressure on Dexter/Pickens to be pretty solid year one. And same with Stevenson. And then Kyler Gordon played better. We still don't really know what he is totally, especially in the slot. So there's definitely some questions in the defense. I get you totally, Chris. I'm just saying if Fields is MVP level good is just elevating your team to absurd heights. But I guess my point. Yeah,
said it on Hogan Johns that 11 is probably the top of the very best scenario.
11
I'd
wins.
faint with 11 wins. Yeah. I'd love it.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
That would be insane. I don't. I would probably say an under 10% chance that happens.
Well, that's probably. I mean, that's just in that MVP level. Instantly
the defense
connecting
is good
with DJ Moore, and the defense being
pretty solid,
serviceable.
15 to I'd say 15 to 20.
Right. It's a lot of things that have to go right.
They were basically 32 last year. They were stuck.
Yeah. I'm still not completely sold on Alan Williams either as a coordinator, but we'll see. Maybe with more players, he will look better.
I mean, just like Justin, man, how can you judge him based on what he's got to work with?
True. Very true.
So do you guys think that the plan with Justin changes much in terms of, because so after the mini bye last year, we saw the offense completely change, right? From a drop back game to more Justin getting out, Justin running a lot more, the run game being much more dominant. do you think we still see mostly that with more of a drop back game mixed in, or do you think they come out and try to do what they did at the beginning of last year and still mix in the Justin run for a 60-yard touchdown offense?
I think they have to kind of stick with the offense that they had at the end of last year and just add more of a drop back game to them, just because I think that's what fits Justin better. I mean, I don't really think they're a pure drop back offense as it is, and they're going to be. I mean, I've said this before. I still think they're going to be among the league leaders in rushing. So I think very similar to what we saw at the end of last year, just a run first, run heavy team, but with more drop back concepts involved. But I don't ever think they'll be purely what we saw at the beginning of last year. I don't think that really plays to this offense's strengths. And even though the offensive line has improved, it's still probably not going to be great. I mean, it'll be serviceable to do some more drop back concepts, but not all.
I mean, now that he has a guy that can actually get open in the first 10 yards, I think
yeah, definitely.
It'll really improve everything, you know.
And there's nothing wrong with having a very multiple offense. I mean, that's totally cool. Keep the defense off guard.
Absolutely. No, it makes it impossible to guard.
Yeah, I mean, you got to worry about Fields. You got to worry about multiple running backs, and now you have to worry about DJ Moore on the outside. It really should be a nightmare for other teams and make Luke Getsy's job a lot easier.
How confident are you guys in the running game with Roschon Johnson, Khalil Herbert, and whatever else kind of shakes out behind him?
Man, I mean, people are in love with the Dante Foreman signing. Like, some are calling him better than Demo. So it's going to be interesting to see how they deploy these three. And that's what I was kind of alluding to with like Roschon come mid-season, if he's getting more of the carries than Herbert or Foreman, or, you know, how if they're only mixing Herbert in, you know, 10% of the time, and then the other 90% is taken up by Foreman and Johnson, or if they do like a 33% split between all of them. It'll be really interesting. I think this run game is going to be as good, if not better, than last year.
Yeah, Joe. I am a betting man, but if you could bet on this, I would bet on the Bears being a top 5 rushing offense, definitely. Especially with Fields. I mean, they have 4 really, really good runners, and I guess if I had a way to describe the Bears' backfield, I would say a fantasy player's worst nightmare.
I like how you said runners, Lucas, and not running backs.
Runners.
Yeah, because you're not calling Justin a running back. So
well,
good job.
I'm also expecting Roschon to maybe take some snaps at QB, like Joe said, but not throw it. Wildcat runs.
Maybe.
Take some runs that way. But
dude,
I think
I'm
First
not gonna.
First of all, I'm calling you Chris.
Well, you call me Chris. Actually, you don't call me Chris all the time. You call me Krogman, so that's fine.
I'm gonna pick up the phone and I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna say, did you see Roschon Johnson throw that little 3-yard out?
They need to line Velus Jones up in the backfield more. That guy's sick with the ball in his hands.
Very good.
This offense could be very, very dangerous. So we'll see how Luke Getsy uses everybody next year. Hopefully the route concepts and everything kind of match the talent, and the game plan matches the talent. I think we have a very solid coaching staff. I thought Getsy did a great job last year, especially, you know, completely changing the offense in pretty much 10 days to something that worked and scored points. So I'm very optimistic for how the offense can go.
The sky is the limit, man. I mean, truthfully, really, if the Bears, it's another thing that can give the Bears a lot of wins. I mean, if they somehow, you know, round together a top 10 offense, you know, it's just the way to win in the modern NFL. So,
well, that's why I'm so optimistic and why I'm wanting you guys to kind of slow me down, because that's what y'all are here for. I see I say
The Vegas
what if
line's
it
at
all
7.5.
What if it all works? What if the offensive line? What if we got the right pieces? Fields is like. What if it all just clicks and works? And what that I think that ceiling can make us competitive in the North to win the division.
Yeah, I think the North is wide open, to be honest with you. Like, I don't.
If you're going to say the Lions are the favorite, I mean, they might be the favorite. They probably are the favorite on paper. But anytime you just say those words in a sentence, you know the NFC North is wide open.
That's what I'm saying. They have to show us. They have a very good team. They have to show us.
For sure. Should we jump into this rookie mini camp?
Yeah, we can dive into that. Chris is on top of the reporting from the mini camps. I know you dug up some good stuff today. What do we? What did our friend Courtney Cronin give us on some of the players we're about to talk about?
Courtney Cronin, I love you.
I mean, Courtney is a phenomenal reporter. My favorite thing that I did hear is that she called Tyler Scott a 5th-round draft pick when he was, in fact, a 4th-round draft pick, and he corrected her, which I think is fantastic. So already like that guy. Sounds like –
That's okay, Courtney. I forgive you.
Everybody that, spoke to the media, including coaches, all the players sounded like they had good presence, I guess, at the podium. Darnell Wright talked about how he's excited to, make the team. That's his first goal, first and foremost. Hey, at least he knows he's starting from the bottom. Now he's here. He's going to lose a little bit of weight, which I think we knew. He literally said, I don't really feel any different. I'm trying to still make the team. Know what I mean? So, direct quote, if you want to laugh at that 6'5", 335-pound man, you go right ahead, Joseph.
I'm laughing at you, Darno. That's cute. I think you've made the team.
Now, are you guys at all worried about, do you think the weight loss has any bearing on how he'll perform? Like, are we worried that maybe his anchor strength won't be as good or something? Or no worries at all, just kind of an NFL functional thing?
It'll be lean mass. I mean, he'll drop the fat and be just as strong, if not stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really worried at all about him.
And even if he does, let's say he loses a little strength in the anchor, you can always go back. You can always pat it back on.
That's true.
One thing that Courtney didn't have, but I heard about it anyway, is and this is the hot topic, right? Is Gervon Dexter and his
get off,
which I don't really like calling it that, but
it is a weird term.
There's not a better way to say that. His snap reaction time, his penetration get off.
Whoa.
Anyway,
whoa.
That was addressed. Was it? Oh God, dang it! Now I forget his name. I want to say Howard Hughes, but that's not right. Herb Howard. Thank you. Herb Howard figured it out. He asked straight up, so, hey, Gervon, your get off in college sucked. What's up with that? And Dexter, said, go back and look at my sophomore junior tape. It's a lot different. I was asked to do different things, or maybe he said freshman, sophomore tape, but that he was very excited to be in the Bears gap style defense where he will live in the backfield. So I guess out at rookie minicamp, he did look faster off the ball. It wasn't as fast as like Zach Pickens, but it was still solid. Is this like, how concerned are you about this?
I think it's the reason he fell to the second round.
7 out of 10. Wow.
Yes. I think it can make or break his career. If he can't get off the line of scrimmage, then you're asking him to fight off professional offensive linemen from a yard or two, after they've already gotten into him by a yard or so.
Right. So I guess my question is like, let's not say it's the best get off on the planet, like his freshman and sophomore year, and it's not the worst like his junior and senior year or whatever. If it's somewhere in the middle, is he okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's something you can learn. I think it's something you can continue to learn and work on through your career. I mean, it's just like
Dan Hampton said,
how
the
would
same
you
thing.
work on hand-eye coordination? Yeah, it's something that you line up in a stance. You set a coach has a ball on a stick and he moves the ball and he see how quickly you can get up in. Well, you've seen it. The defensive line coach standing there, he's got the ball on a stick. It's the fake snap, and you just react to the ball moving. That's all you got to do, and just practice that over and over.
I mean, I didn't really believe in this too much either about the kind of read and react defense, but if you go watch his tape, he doesn't even look at the ball. Like he's basically just mirroring the guard, so just moving on the guard's movement, which is a little bit crazy to me. I didn't even realize that guys didn't watch that. Like that was a thing.
So I want to raise my hand on that one because I'm going to call total fucking bullshit. Like we did the same thing in high school. We did the same. No, we did this, but we did the same type of shit in high school where we mirrored the offensive guard. You stared at his helmet right in the middle. You know, it says Rydell or Riddell or however you want to pronounce it. As soon as that thing moved one way or the other, you fucking fought to that gap as fast as you could. Like that's just as fast as watching the ball. Like that cannot be your excuse. Like that seems silly to me. Unless you're saying mirroring the guard means something completely different than what I just described.
No, one, I think it's bad coaching. You should be able to watch. You should be able to watch the ball and have your eyes on your key, especially at the line of scrimmage.
I think you should be able to see the ball out of the corner of your eye and keep your eye on your man. Okay.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yeah,
Either way, I'd never stared at the ball. I think that's terrible. Because your guy's going to blast you in the face in that 1 second. No, I don't like that excuse. I do think that he can improve it. Let's see like what the kid's work ethic and all of that is. I wouldn't imagine that, you know, Flus and Poles would, you know, blatantly go out and get a guy that wasn't willing to work on his negative traits. If they're solely betting on his athletic ability, then I mean, shit, dude, we all did mock drafts based on relative athletic score. Any of us could have done just as well if that's all we're betting on. So I hope that it's a little bit more than that.
Yeah, and I think something that's come up a lot too, especially in Poles' drafts and a lot of the, I guess, feedback from Dexter and Pickens is that those two dudes absolutely love playing football. And when you have guys when you have guys who are that dedicated to the craft and love the game that much, you're really hoping, you know, if they're that athletic that they are going to keep working relentlessly to keep bettering themselves. So, I mean, that's the hope. Chris, I know you talked about this earlier, and I know they're saying they want all these guys to be interchangeable, but I do see Dexter having more of a home as like a 1 technique as opposed to a 3.
But that's going to change depending on like which side is the strong side, right? I mean, they could still
I mean, motion can change it for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it always will, but I'm just saying I think more of like an Eddie Goldman type player for him is what I see as opposed to.
He's so much taller though. And so much more athletic. I mean,
I just think he's going to be a ridiculous run stuffer, like at the very least. And Joe, to your point, I mean, maybe that's not flashy.
That's music to my ears.
Maybe he's not getting a ton of sacks, but if we have a big boy there eating up blocks, and that's what I'm hoping that Andrew Billings can do as well for us this year. But I do think there's more pass rush upside with Pickens.
I would say in known passing situations, though, Dexter's going to do well for a 1 tech, I guess, is the point. If you have Pickens and Dexter coming at you on 3rd and long, I think that's what you're looking for. That's what we're hoping for, is that both of them can get home up the middle. As far as Zach Pickens goes, he was the comedian of the group over the weekend. Courtney asked him about his weight being down at the combine, and Zach said, "Well, I lost weight to look faster and run faster, Courtney. So that's why I was lighter." And he is back up to close to his playing weight of 305. So nothing to worry about there. But he's a fun gentleman. So looking forward to kind of hearing him if he speaks to the media much. But Dexter and Pickens were on the same kind of pro tour, it seemed like, as they often found themselves in the same airport, visited a lot of the same teams. So, yeah, they kind of got to know each other already. So it'll be cool to see them as teammates, kind of pushing each other and driving each other to be good. Anything else you guys want to talk about with either of those two tackles? I mean, I think, would you say either one is your early pick to have a better career?
That's tough, actually.
I like Dexter. I know. Even though he's by 7 out of 10, I said concerned about his get off. I like Dexter because I think the athleticism is there, and you just coach up a little bit of his traits, coach his eyes. I'm reading. I'm reading. This is who is this? This is Lake. This is Josh Schrock from NBCSports.com is writing about how they really tweaked his stance right there in the first weekend. Adjusting some of his weight in his stance, and I think that okay, for us, here he goes. For us, my main thing is to keep it as simple as possible. I want to see what they can do. I don't want to try to give them too much information than what they can remember. I want to see what you can do. I think the first day you saw a little bit of what he's done for 3-4 years in high school and at Florida. Now we're getting him to understand. Number one, how do we get aligned? What's the stance? Where's the weight? Is it in the heels or in the hands? And then how are we getting off? So basically, they spent, it seems like, a good bit of time tweaking some basics for him. I wonder if you give him some pro coaching and really give him the tools, if that athleticism doesn't just make him pop as a real big time football player.
Lucas?
Yeah, I mean that was a good quote, Joe. That was from what was his name again?
The writer was Josh Schrock, but
Schrock,
the defensive line coach Coach Smith. I don't have a first. Travis Smith.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, Chris, the initial question is, which one do you think will be better right off the bat?
No, better career.
Better career. Man, that's tough. I like both of them. I know that's not a good answer. Pickens has been my guy from the start, so I'll go with him, but I'm rooting for Dexter hard now that Bears fans are doubting him.
Dexter's been my dude from jump. I've liked that guy's athleticism and build from the beginning of the process. Not that I have that much of a process. Don't attack me on Twitter. I don't know shit. So cool. Moving on to Tyreek Stevenson. I know we're a little bit out of order as far as the draft order goes, but Tyreek was praised for picking up the defense rather quickly. Kyler, like last year, it was Kyler Gordon jumping out of his shoes or whatever. Remember, and JJ was getting all the freaking negative press during these mini camps. But
that's right. I forgot about that.
Stevenson, he's long. He plays tough. He's I think vinegar in his veins is something somebody said. So he's I think he's going to be a good addition. I think this was a very good cornerback draft overall. Yeah. Stevenson was never a guy I looked at previous to the Bears taking him. But yeah, he seems like he's gonna be fine. And there's another story with him and Tyler Scott that they actually competed against each other in the Peach Bowl during the 2020 season when Stevenson was at Georgia and he covered Tyler Scott. Joe, since you are the SEC guru, can you recall that game and how well Tyler Scott did versus our boy Stevenson?
When was this?
2020.
2020 Peach Bowl? No.
Yeah, I didn't even really know he was at Georgia until the reports came out.
Yeah, I didn't
apparently he got into like a little thing with Kirby Smart because he didn't want to play the star position.
Yeah, he wanted to be outside, so he moved to Miami.
I
think wasn't there more to it than that? Like he's from South Florida,
and his mom told him she wanted him to go away from home or something like that.
Yeah,
and then I'm
to
pretty
get
sure
the experience.
He went back to Miami and he got in a bar fight or something crazy. So that
scrappy.
His backstory is a little interesting because we think Poles doesn't like the character flags, but he's bringing in a guy that's transferring, so he was getting into it with the coach and getting in bar fights. So we'll see. But Chris, that is funny. You said that. Some people are like, yeah, if there's one position you want to get in a bar fight, it's a cornerback. You want them to do scrappy as hell.
That's right. Get them get your hands on them dudes.
I mean, he's got them long ass arms. It's probably hard to fight.
Tyler Scott had 1 reception for 4 yards in that game.
Now, that's probably a horrible matchup for Scott because Scott is tiny. That was another thing that came out.
Had 3 solo tackles and 1 pass defense in that ball game.
How small Tyler Scott is.
That's a good game for it. I mean, it doesn't mean he was on him the entire time either.
Sure.
You know, but that's not a good game for Scott by any means.
No.
You know, who would have been his quarterback, Joe?
His quarterback, Tyler Scott, was it Desmond Ritter? It was.
I was just going to say Ritter. That's what I thought it would have been Ritter. Yeah.
Ritter was 24 of 37, 206 yards and 2 touchdowns that night.
That's not phenomenal, but it is Georgia, so.
They lost 24-21.
Oh, it was a tough game, though.
Yeah, and then you remember Georgia basically has gone undefeated since that game.
Yeah, jeez. Not a whole lot from Roschon Johnson. I don't know if Courtney doesn't have anything on him. I can't remember off the top of my head if he did speak to the media, but the coaches spoke to the media quite a bit, including both coordinators. Actually, it was only the coordinators, all 3 coordinators. Joe, you got that clip of John Fox ready?
I'm not the offensive coordinator. I'm not the defensive coordinator.
Roschon Johnson had my job in Roschon Johnson's out there having what I did in 7-on-7s.
Personal protector.
Pass protecting the air on routes that I didn't run. Such stupid.
They did. I think there was a coach comment about Roschon that he's going to probably be a 4-phase special teamer. Johnson's totally good with that as well. So we need special teams players, and he's low tread on the tires. So yeah, I mean Roschon, it'll be good. We had Roquan, now we got Roschon. Man, that's going to be hard. Not really. So Luke Getzey spoke, had some good things to say about Darnell Wright at the Senior Bowl because he coached him there. Told Wright the hardest thing about coming to the NFL was that offensive line was the hardest position to come into the NFL and produce right away. So, but that Darnell Wright held his own as far as how he responded to the types of, comments that Getzey made and just how he carried himself. So it's just, he said he's a natural and that, I mean, he's just what is that quote? Oh, you can tell this guy is a man of the right stuff.
Ooh, the right stuff.
He's got the right stuff.
I hope they say that about me one day. He's built with the right stuff.
Built with the right stuff. Getzey said it's too soon to determine the roles with the wide receivers. It'll play itself out. Last year, with all the different sets of starting lineups they had to go through, hopefully they won't have to do that. So it sounds like once he figures it out, that's going to be what it is. He also thinks Justin Fields is light years ahead of where he was last year. Hopefully, he should be. Getting the team around him better, all of us being together for another year, and continuity is the communication that he and I have. I can't. I hope Justin takes a big leap. You know, I'm tired of not having a quarterback. I mean, good God, dude.
We all are.
This is like
We had a quarterback. His name was Jay Cutler.
I'm 40, almost 44 years old. I will be 44 before the next season. I'm tired of this. This is gross.
Jay Cutler. You had Jay Cutler. He's a great quarterback.
He was all right.
He's currently the Bears' best quarterback post-merger. But Justin needs to shatter all that shit.
What else? What else do we have from OTAs? That should be most of it, right?
OTAs.
Can I throw a funny? It's not a Bears related, but
Not
since we're
OTA.
talking about a pass related, we want our passing game to do well. Was it Lamar Jackson who said they were going to throw for 6,000 yards this season?
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right, go LJ. Let's see what you got.
Only other interesting note from the coaches. Well, actually, Chris Morgan had a few interesting notes. Darnell Wright was the only offensive lineman that the Bears did a private workout with, which is, I don't understand that. Like, I guess if you bring them in for a 30 visit, that doesn't necessarily mean that you work them out.
No. They went to Knoxville and private worked him out, didn't they?
Oh, is that what
Yep.
is that what that's saying?
They kicked his ass in Knoxville, apparently.
No, I know they kicked his ass. I just didn't know where that happened. I thought
it was
that
a private
during his
workout.
30 visit. Okay.
That would be crazy if they did that during a visit.
He said keeping Braxton Jones at left tackle is good for, his growth, development, and staying on the same side. He said the battle for center is going to be a good one. Ryan Poles is comfortable with either Whitehair or Patrick, but Morgan also threw out Doug Kramer and Dieter Iceland as players with center experience.
Kramer, our Iowa buddy, off the ACL injury.
Dude, I
Oh,
cannot believe Dieter
Illinois.
Iceland is still on this freaking team, dude.
Still coming out of their mouth.
Like, it's just ridiculous that he's still on this team to me.
Yeah,
He was a practice squad player for so long.
I would really like to see the Bears bring in one, maybe two vet linemen just to compete. See what happens.
Offensive lineman?
Yeah. Well, both sides actually.
How many defensive ends would you bring in? Would you just sign one, or would you, sign two out of the three you named, or is there another one out there?
I don't think there's any harm bringing in two, but I don't see them bringing in more than one, to be honest. Unless these guys are looking for multiple year deals, maybe that could be the hang up.
Yeah, Robert Mays mentioned that they'll do it in the next couple of months, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's almost like the who's the guard they signed really late?
Riley
last year?
Reef.
No, the guard Schofield.
Schofield. Yeah.
They signed Schofield really late. So, I mean, I guess patience is a virtue, and we'll have to wait and see if they sign Yannick or Clowney. I don't know. Yannick makes sense to me, but
Yeah, Clowney is. I don't know if Clowney's the type of guy they would want, and he doesn't really rush the passer. So Clowney literally told them to take him out of the game last year for some reason. He told the Browns to not play him. I don't know.
That ain't the kind of guy I want on my team.
Yeah.
Especially when we're rebuilding, trying to create culture.
did he have a dental appointment or something?
I don't know.
He likes his teeth, maybe.
Dental appointment on a Sunday? I don't think so.
Well, he's an NFL player. He has a private dentist that just, stays in his guest house. I don't know. Maybe not. That's it as far as rookie minicamp goes. Did anybody figure out when veteran minicamp is?
Yeah, I looked on the website. There was a bunch of different dates, but I'm pretty sure it's in mid-June.
Mid-June.
Like the second week of June.
So roughly a month away. All right.
I think the signing will probably occur after that, because I think generally after the veteran camp and after the June 1st because they have to wait for teams to see who they're going to cut. I mean, Carl Lawson's a name that's been thrown out there. I don't really know where that came from, by the way. The Jets still have $10 million in cap space.
It happened before the Rodgers thing, and
people were saying
all the cap manipulation happened with the Rodgers move.
I don't know why people he's literally on the Jets book for $1.2 million. I don't know what the hell they did to his contract or what he agreed to, but
but that's what I'm saying. The Carl Lawson thing came out well before the Rodgers trade. That was at least 2 weeks before that.
Yeah, people kept doubling down on it. Then I kept seeing some of the cap guys like Brad after the Rodgers trade was like, oh, maybe Lawson will be cut. And I looked and they still have room. And I don't know. I don't know.
The cap
sounds like you don't know, Lucas.
Well, I just don't know where they're getting that they need to move on from because they still have room.
I don't know.
It's a myth.
I haven't heard anything official. But yeah, June 1st will be an interesting time. See if any big cuts happen for sure, and if the Bears scoop up any of those cuts. How does it work? Do those guys go on waivers? They have.
I think they do. No,
Bears have first waiver.
Do they go
forever?
They might go on waivers. I don't know. Is it like fantasy football where if you drop someone, they go to waivers before free agency?
You gotta wait 2 days to sign them, and
you got to put your claim into the NFL office.
Well, and you got to use your fab. You got to use your fab dollars in order to sign them. So
the Bears have a lot of fab dollars. They have 32 million fab dollars to be exact.
Yeah, but there's got to be an extension or two coming.
Yeah, the CMET,
and I think Jalen gets extended. I'm still holding out hope.
Yeah, I'm interested to see who will get that. I mean, in theory, they should give out 2 extensions, but I mean, they really might play the wait and see game with both Mooney, Claypool, and Johnson. I actually might all play the wait and see game with. See who gets it. I'm trying to look at our 2023 opponents because we have our schedule release coming out. Where is it?
Well, we got the Packers twice. We got the Lions twice. We got the Vikings 2 times on the schedule.
All right.
And then to Lambeau. All right. And Lucas, who else we got?
With the other home games this year. So we got Lions, Packers, Vikings. Then we got the Falcons at home. The Panthers at home. That's the game I'm circling on my calendar. Hopefully it's early in the year and on a Sunday at 1. We got the Broncos at home, the Raiders at home, and the Cardinals at home. On the road, we got Lions, Packers, Vikings. We played the Chiefs, who was supposed to be or rumored to be the game in Germany this year. But supposedly NFL teams can decide if they're playing the international game, they can decide one opponent they don't want to play there. So the Chiefs chose the Bears, supposedly, according to Peter King. I'm guessing because Kansas City wants the revenue from Bears fans. So that'll be interesting to see if that's in Germany or in Kansas City. And then outside of the Chiefs, they have Chargers, Saints, Buccaneers, Commanders, and Browns on the road.
Ooh, Saints on the road? I can get down to that.
No, Joe, you're going to go to Soldier Field this year and meet us out there because you missed out last year.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Time frame?
Not in December. Yeah, September. Early.
Was it too cold for you?
I was fine with it, but it was too close to the holiday, and yes, other people were complaining.
Not real Bears fans.
I am. I really do.
That's such a silly thing. I don't care. Yeah, it's too cold. So what? I live in the cold. I don't want to go to the cold. The fuck would I want to do that? I'm not saying.
I mean, I had fun. I don't care.
I'm talking to Joe.
I think the Panthers game would probably be the sickest home game to see, but really depends on when that falls.
Oh shit, Bryce Young, baby!
Dude, Bryce Young, and we have to root everything in our body against him to lose.
I hope Bryce goes 0-16 this year. Sorry, buddy.
I took the under on all the Bryce Young props, and I'm really hoping Andy Dalton starts the year.
Bryce, baby. Bum, 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 bada, bum, boom.
He's throwing to Concrete Shoe Thielen and Jonathan Mango.
Those are going to be great weapons for him. Really, really first rate.
Yeah, that's going to be a run first, second, and third down type of team. We'll see, though. Hopefully all our wishes can come true for the schedule release. You guys got anything else? I think we covered a whole lot of ground.
I do not. Yeah, we are definitely in the slow part of the news cycle, or will be very soon. So, Lucas, are we going to drop an episode next week for the folks?
Yeah, we should go over the schedule. We should go over the schedule like we do.
Go over the schedule.
And we can talk about the other NFC North drafts.
How
did our foes do? The Vikings, the Lions, and the Packers.
Oh, my.
That's a good idea, Lucas. We will see you next week, and Joe will serenade you out of here.
Bear down, Chicago Bears. Make every play, clear the way to victory. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Put up a fight with the might so fearlessly. We'll never forget the way you thrilled the nation with your T formation. Bear down, Chicago Bears, and let them know why you're wearing the crown. You're the pride and joy of Illinois, Chicago Bears. Bear down.